Good afternoon, family. It is February 25th, 2022. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of achieving a healthy weight. If you do enjoy my video, make sure that you get subscribed to the channel. Also, click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or when I post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion, you can join me live most weekdays at 4 p.m. or outside of my live streams. Consider joining our Discord. The link for that is in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the food that we enjoy, we have a link down in the description to a Pinterest board that has some of our family's favorite whole food plant based meals. Today is day 482 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant based SOS free diet to lose over 200 pounds in 16 months. I have 20 months left to go, and I'm excited to reach my goal of 300 pounds lost or a weight of 219.8 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any diet goals or anything you want to share in general, ask questions, anything you want, throw them down in the chat box. Gonna get started here today. I hope everybody had a great evening last night. I had talked yesterday in the stream about how I wanted to maybe do some greens for breakfast or have vegetables for breakfast today. And when I got home yesterday, I was greeted with a large salad for dinner last night. So I was like, well, maybe I won't start the greens for breakfast tomorrow because we're having such a large salad for dinner this evening. I don't know if I've ever shown my salads on stream here before. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. Um, but I will pop up. So I've talked about it before. The salads that we have are generally very large. Uh it is, heavy in the spinach. This is a large mixing bowl that Carrie made completely full of salad, and then she took half of it out for herself, and this is what was left for me. I don't know if the second, yeah, I mean, they don't really do it justice, but like that is as large a mixing bowl as you would have, and it's just filled with salad. So that was our dinner last night. We also had a different dressing than we normally have. Generally, we have a mustard dressing, and last night's was more of an apple, maybe even had a bit of a vinegar kind of flavor to it. It was really a great salad. I am always nervous when I go into eating something like this because it is so far from what I'm used to eating, completely different. And so, like, to sit there and go into it and then to have a dressing that we don't normally have, I was very apprehensive, but I ended up finishing every piece of that salad, and having a completely full stomach for the rest of the evening. I did snack a little bit with some cashews, but that was very satisfying. It was a large amount of food, and uh, there's no doubt that that it was plenty of food. Like regardless, because it's a very low calorie. But it definitely filled my stomach, and uh I it was enough though that I didn't want to have greens again for breakfast this morning. We did have some salad left over, I guess. Carrie must have had some from the other half that was left over, and it was really heavy with kale. Um and so I was like, I'll pass on that. I think Carrie had it for lunch today. And she even sent me a text that said she added spinach and it was still pretty heavy on the kale. So we definitely got our greens for the day yesterday. The only thing I could have done better was to go out into the sun well, it's dark when I eat, but uh, apparently that is beneficial after you eat. green leafy vegetables like that is to go out into the sun. So, um, that was dinner last night. And then this morning for breakfast, like I said, I didn't have my regular. So I ended up having, or I, sorry, I I ended up having my regular breakfast of oatmeal with almond almond butter mixed in, and then I had a couple oranges that were extremely sweet. Like, wow, so it's just incredibly sweet. For a couple little oranges. So that was the food that I've had since yesterday. Um, got on the scale today. I'm excited about the weigh-in next Wednesday already. But I still have to get through this weekend, and everybody knows how well I do getting through the weekends. Uh, I just got to try to avoid that pantry as much as possible. All right, let's hit that button. So yeah, food's been good. Um, I was messing around on my computer today. I have some video from like the day before I started this challenge. Kind of like an original kind of like intro video that I had made, or like practicing what I was gonna say when I finally made an intro video. I had all kinds of ideas for what I was gonna do when I started this channel, and now I'm sitting here a year and a half later doing some of those things, but it's very different from what I was talking about in those videos. I'm gonna try to cut them together and maybe do a reaction thing, or play them during live stream next week. Uh, but just kind of my intention was always to go in with fasting. I thought fasting was gonna be the thing that was gonna save me, and it did, just not in the way that I thought it was going to save me. But it introduced me to this lifestyle, and for that, I will be forever grateful. And I know that I can always skip a meal and not be in a bad spot if I had to. So, um, but and I haven't ruled out using fasting to lose some weight. I just don't like the idea of going an extended period of time and not being active anymore. Like when I was 520 pounds, sitting on my butt for 42 days wasn't tough, because I had already been sitting on my butt for the 10 years before that. So, but now that I've kind of seen how nice it is to walk around without that extra 200 pounds on my back, it's amazing. Carrie's checking in saying happy Friday. Happy Friday, Carrie. I hope everything is going great at home today. A little extra time with the kids. I know that's always wonderful when they have an early out. Uh, the um, I was just talking about the videos that I came across from right before I started this challenge, and kind of the biggest thing is how much different I look. I am just amazed at how big I was. Kids are out sledding. We are all good. There you go. Until they come in and they want their hot cocoa and they're cold and they need stuff, right? Um, I was just so big. Like, I don't even know how how I was able to get that big. And throughout the progress, throughout the probably 10 or 20 minutes of time that I had spent doing this filming, I was like noticeably getting out of breath. And at the end, I'm sitting in a chair talking because it was so much. Carrie says she just can't believe how puffy my face was. She didn't even realize. Yes. It's just a slow thing that happens. And it's so crazy to yeah, it's just a weird comparison, and to see the difference, like you said, in the face. I knew my body was big. I knew that it was puffy, but I just didn't think that I had so much fat in my face as I did. Uh, yeah, it's just it was crazy to watch. It was sad to see myself like that too, like to in that position, but so wild. Like that was the day before I started, like I was so motivated like I was ready to go uh that day. And because I had when I started this, I guess I don't know how much, but like I I took my time getting going, like I should have started sooner than I did. And I say that at the end of every video that you should start right now. And I should have started before I had everything lined up because I had some grand plan that I was going to do something with fasting and this YouTube channel because I had seen other people that had had success doing extended fasting and success isn't the right word even though like that they had well, success with losing weight, I guess, what I meant is, uh, and that I had done it before, I had fasted before, so I wanted to prove that I could do it, and, uh, just wild the difference where I'm at now, and in, like, the way I was talking about what I was gonna be doing, I didn't have an idea of what I was gonna do for food, but my intention in the video I talk about was to do the fasting for as long as I can, and then uh, to go into intermittent fasting and just eat 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day was gonna be the combination of extended water fasting and eating 1 meal a day was gonna get me down my goal weight. And that is not what I'm doing right now. I'm doing 2 meals a day, sometimes 3 on the weekends, but 2 meals a day I think is works best for me. And it's like I said, it's crazy where I was to where I'm at right now overall. So the title here, have you really tried everything to lose weight? I used to say I've tried every diet and they all fail. I was defeated by my weight, and I was done wrestling with it. After years of losing, I was done, I mean, my history with it before I was 18, I was just so active that my weight wasn't a health issue. It was just a social issue. And anyone who is overweight in high school knows how stressful that can be, but it wasn't a health issue. It wasn't really, I mean, it wasn't far after that though, really. If you go back to when I was 19, I was around like 350 pounds. And that was the first time I really knew I needed to do something for my health. I was living at home at the time, going to a local community college. And that's when I started, I guess, my first real diet. And a family friend had a new diet program that had worked for him and his family. And they were sharing their success with anyone who would listen. And that's when I learned about AdvoCare and what multi-level marketing programs were. Sure, I could get my pills from him, but it'd just be easier to become my own dealer. I had moderate success with AdvoCare until the government stepped in and said too many people are ending up in the hospital because of this ephedra stuff. So after that, I lost confidence in the product and really what happened is I went away to college after that. And when I went to college, I didn't eat something I cooked for myself for 3 years. Everything was takeout, everything was ordered. I mean, just an example of how bad my diet was and how fat I was I had ordered a pizza from the Hut one time and they messed it up. And so the guy gave me a couple free pizza coupons. And so then I would order pizza from them, usually a large meat lover pizza with stuffed crust and another item like cheese sticks or chicken wings. And then I would tell them I'd have this coupon and I would pay with a card over the phone so I get this free pizza. And then when the driver would show up, I would sign, I'd tip him pretty good, but I'd never give him the coupon. And as long as I had the coupon, I kind of felt like, well, if they call me out, I'd be like, here you go. And I had more than one too. And so, but that was just my way of finding any way to get as much food as possible for as cheap as I could. But then after college, I started working on weight loss again. I can remember reading books like Fit for Life by Harvey Diamond, tried the Fat Smash Diet by Dr. Ian Smith. I went to Weight Watchers a couple times. I know once I went with my mom on a regular basis, and another time I went with a good friend of mine. Um, I've mentioned before is probably one of my lowest moments was ordering pills from a late night infomercial that the only thing they advertised was is that they would just expand into a non-caloric substance in your stomach just to take up space. And most of that all was before I was diagnosed with sleep apnea and I met Carrie, and none of those diets had any real success. And then after I met Carrie, we started going to the gym more. We started paying a trainer at the gym and taking classes. Um, and at one point I hadn't thought about this, but at one point we got those fancy armbands that were being advertised on The Biggest Loser. Um, and we saw some success at the gym, but you just can't outwork a bad diet. And even on the days where you can't work out, you're still eating that bad diet. And so you're not getting the benefit of the workout. And then in 2013, I started seeing a doctor who offered a non-surgical medical weight loss solution so then I began taking phentermine pills that would curb my appetite, and boy did that work while I was allowed to take them. But after the 9 months that they kind of pushed to let me take them, my appetite went back to what it was and my eating habits went back to where they were. And so really I gained the weight back, and at that point I was just defeated. And looking back on the past 20 years and just thinking about all the money I spent and all the time on all of those things, that they all probably have an equal success rate, which is much closer to zero than any of them would be willing to admit. And so this time with this channel, this was my last resort, really. I before going, you know, it- this was my last resort before going to the doctor and getting some form of stomach surgery. And then even that's not a guarantee. I would have found a way to screw that up. Um, and what I didn't know when I started was that I would come to a diet where there's nobody making money. There's no profit out there being made from a whole food, plant based diet free of added salt, oil, and sugar. There are tons of ads on the TV for Taco Bell, but you don't see any ads for red bell peppers, like, and now almost anything we buy that is packaged and is compliant on our diet, we can make that ourselves in our kitchen if we have the right tools, a high speed blender, dehydrator, juicer, and they don't have to be fancy ones in some cases. But, you know, I used to say that I tried every diet, but what I didn't know at the time is that this one was here the whole time. And if you're sitting there watching this video and saying, I've tried all those things and I'm still overweight, please give this diet a chance. For 3 weeks, eat a whole food, plant based, SOS free diet. Eat until you're full. Don't restrict the volume. Follow the restrictions of the whole food, plant based, SOS free, but it's eat as much as you want. And even if you don't lose a pound on this diet, you're going to see dramatic improvements in your health by removing those items from your diet. And also, I didn't just do this with Diet Alone. And I don't know that I would have been able to have the success without having this channel. I knew I needed the accountability. And people a lot of times say that they're motivated by their family, but that's different than accountable. I knew I could try to lean on Carrie again for accountability, but she loves me too much. She would rather see me happy than sad, you know? And so she's not going to let me beat myself up too much, you know? She's my biggest cheerleader and my biggest fan. And, and I wanted to lose weight for my family. I've always wanted that more than anything, is to lose weight for my family. And that's motivation, that's the want, but the motivation only goes so far, and it's variable. Like some days it's it's more motivating than others and less motivating, but with accountability, that's the thing I needed. I needed to answer for every action that I took from the time I started, to present to the public or everyone around me with complete transparency, and to provide results that can be audited by others, that others can look at and say, this is a complete look at everything. And I needed to prove to the world that it can be done, that some people are not just destined to be overweight their whole life, and that I can be one of those people's and that I can be one of those people that escape from the trap. And when I started this channel, my goal was to put everything on the table, show all of my progress, or show all of my process, and see what happens, good or bad. And I'm sitting here today exactly where I wanted to be when I started. Well on my way to my goal, with no signs of going back anywhere in sight. So you guys, you need to find a way to create your own accountability outside of your family circle. There's many groups out there on Facebook and Zoom meetings and Overeaters Anonymous and those types of things you can look for. But you can start your own journal. You can create your own Instagram account where you just upload photos of what you're eating. You just take everything you eat, you take a photo of, and you put it on Instagram. And you don't have to share it with anybody. Like this channel, nobody outside of my immediate family knows I created this channel. I have lots of Facebook friends, or I have people I talk to on a regular basis that have no idea that I sit here in front of a camera for a half hour every day. And the people that do know, it was by mistake because Instagram screwed some stuff up for me. And so it's easy to create your own accountability world if you need to. And you can join our Discord too. That's another place where you can come and talk to us and let us know what's going on with you. Um, for everyone out there still trying to find that magic diet pill or program or guru, it's not out there in those things. The solution is in the produce section at the grocery store. The items that don't have ingredients lists or nutrition labels on them, that's the food you need to be eating. And you need to find a support system that's going to have your back and is going to continue to push you or be there to call you out on your BS, because your family will do it a couple times, but they're not going to do it the third time. They're not going to do it the fourth time. Eventually, they're going to quit bugging you about it because they don't want to see the stress that it puts on you when they bug you about it. You haven't started your diet yet, guys, get started right now. There's no reason to wait. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. Nobody ever gets to their goals and says, man, I wish I would have waited. I wish I would have just given myself a little bit more time. No, everybody looks back and says, I wish I would have started sooner. So get started right now. and go all in, guys. So many times. How many times have you dipped your toe in? How many times have you tried to just do it a little bit? Go all in. Eat a whole food, plant-based, SOS free diet and see the benefits yourself. I'm going to get out of here, guys. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live, usually 4 p.m. on weekdays. There's a Discord down in the description below. There's a Pinterest link for food ideas. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I know I'm going to have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday.